So I, in fact, wanted to tell you all to have a paper and a pen. So if you all want to quickly grab a paper and a pen, it's not an exam. It's not a, I'm not going to give you marks or take marks, but this is going to be a score for yourself. So can you all grab a paper and a pen or a pencil or whatever?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Just 1 second. So can you tell me which chapter we are doing today?
18th. 18th chapter, Mataji.
18th chapter. Very nice. Do you recall the name of the chapter?
The perfection of renunciation.
Sure. Mohandas Prabhu, I'm just sending you the YouTube link.
Okay, Mataji.
Ask Krishna Prabhu to update it. I've sent it just in case you want to hear
Sure,
it.
sure. Thank you.
So there is a visuals, right? My picture behind. Do you recognize what picture that is?
It is the scene of Vaikuntha.
Exactly. Very nice. Vaikuntha. And all of them are looking alike. Why? Because Vaikuntha, there is one set of mukti, right? Liberation called Sa Rupya, which means that whoever goes there, including you and me, we will get a liberation wherein we'll all look exactly like Vishnu. So the person will look exactly like Vishnu. So that's called the Sarupya liberation. And now moving on to the 18th chapter. Just 1 second. Okay, let me start off with prayers. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivatsa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. All of you.
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. These are the Mangalacharan prayers, which also includes what I'm going to sing now, which is about Srila Prabhupada. So I'll chant this one. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauramani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Panchatate Satani. So why I'm singing this at the end is these are the two prayers wherein you say Namam Om Vishnu Padaya, the devotee of Vishnu, on your lotus feet I'm praying my obeisances. So why are we telling this is because mainly you are offering respects to Srila Prabhupada, and Saraswati Devi refers to Srila Prabhupada's guru, who is Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati, right? So now why am I telling these two is these are two prayers we will chant even when we are offering boha to God. So we use the word boha when we are offering to God, and after Krishna eats it and we call it prasad because that's what we eat. So these are the two prayers followed by two more prayers, but these are the two prayers which we will tell each time we offer boha. So I just thought I will bring that to the end. Hare Krishna. So the 18th chapter, it's called the perfection of renunciation, and let's see what he says. This chapter, let's pay our obeisance to Shri Radha Govinda, who has brought us till here and who will facilitate us to continue. So one thing I would like to tell you is, I know it's always the 18th chapter, which is very difficult, right? Very, very hard. But don't think you're bidding a farewell. our journey will continue, and make sure no matter what, you continue the journey with, with the ISKCON, and you continue your Krishna conscious journey. So now you'll be wondering why ISKCON? Because we are very blessed to have Prabhupada to have constructed so many temples, and also books, like 80 books he is given, and places where we can actually form bhakti. And special thanks to Namanishta Prabhu, who has enabled the online platform, right? Otherwise, even if there are temples, and think how often do we go to temple, right? Probably for me also, ISKCON is very far. So probably I will max at best do it once or twice a month at best, right? So you can imagine it's going to be very difficult for all of us. But so if we have to attend a daily class, especially all our students, right, it's going to be really difficult. Now, this is a platform which Shishi Radha Govinda has facilitated through the temple president Namanishta Prabhu. So I only request you all to continue this journey and enter level 3, wherein you will be taught 3 more books, which is Upanishad, and next is Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion. I thoroughly enjoyed teaching these 3, and I would request each one of you all to make sure that you all continue this journey. Okay. No, I may not be the teacher for level 3, but whoever is teaching will really take you through at the next level. Hare Krishna. So 17th chapter, we saw the modes which actually even determine as well as disturb somebody's mode of worship. We also saw the food, sacrifice, austerity, and charity in the various modes. So how food has an impact, and how all these 3. We also understood that sacrifice, austerity, and charity, no matter what, should never be given up. And we conclude with Om Tat Sat, which is not actually just a conclusion, it is a beginning, right? Om talks about the beginning. And we saw this Om Tat Sat is technically used in any puja, right? You do any yagna, every time this does not go. And Om represents Krishna, of course. And Sat is everything eternal, right? And Tat focusing on liberation. So moving on to the 18th chapter, where we have a lot. So we'll see how much we can cover today. So acting with detachment improves renunciation and brings freedom for reaction. Now, as usual, this chapter opens with Arjuna trying to ask Krishna, which is through renunciation. And let's hear, because now we saw in the 6th chapter, should we run to the forest? Practically not possible. And doing Ashtanga Yoga is like possible. Have to hold on to the crackers sound. And we are also seeing and observing that the next option is, besides this, which is the right way, and how do you call that renunciation? How can we do renunciation? By going to college, staying at home, being kids for the parents, and yet be renunciating, right? So how is what is explained by Krishna in 1 to 6. A true sannyasi does not renounce his activity, but renounces the fruits of his activity. So Krishna is explaining how he says that the activity, like, I leave college, I want to run away, I leave my work, is not renunciation, but the result I don't expect. Like, for instance, if I'm taking class, I don't expect in turn how many students will come. Will that be 50? Will that be 100? Will it be 1, 2? Right? Or I don't expect what is in it for me. Do I get some benefit? Will these students do something to me? Will they go and talk about me? Will I get name, fame, popularity, financially, monetarily? Not necessarily, but even, see, satisfaction can be even your ego satisfaction, right? So if you don't get anything, then that becomes true sannyasi. So I'm just giving you an example. Likewise, you all will have a doubt. Okay, ma'am, I'm taking an exam, but naturally I'll expect results. Of course, you expect results, but you don't aim. You see that, okay, I'm getting results. I'm planning to do let's say, engineer or a medicine. My motive is I will go and study and I will do well. I will score marks, but with this, I will serve the devotees of Krishna. If that is the motive, then you're still doing the same thing, but you're a renounced person. But if you feel, okay, I'm going to earn a lot of money. Yes, you still earn money, but you will do money. I'm not telling you to do social service, but I will earn money and I will spend a portion or a part of it for Krishna or for the devotees of Krishna. That is great, right? Even your family, your spouse and children, you see as devotees of Krishna. So everything spins around Krishna. So that's the concept. Now, renouncing one's prescribed duty is ignorance. We already discussed this, right? Whenever there is a problem, we want to run away, right? We all put our hands up. Okay, I want to run away. So that's not renunciation. That is not true renunciation. That is like running escapism, right? But one prescribe duties if they are going to do out of fear. Okay, my God, how can I do this duty? Mother will scold, or teacher will scold, or teacher's forcing me not to focus on all this religion. All this that is coming under the mode of passion. But if someone does this detachment just for the sake of renunciation, Krishna and said that's called renunciation. So who's going to do the chanting? 18.1, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I'll try.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasasya Mahabaho Tattvamichhami Veditum Tyagasya cha Rishikesha Pratakeshinu Sudana. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, Sanyasa. O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. Hare Krishna.
So what are they telling Rishikesha? They are calling Krishna as Rishikesha because he controls, he's a controller of senses, right? And Keshi is a demon. Can you see this demon picture? So he killed the Keshi. So here he is addressing. So each time Arjuna addresses something, he says, just like how you killed the Keshi demon, please, now I have this doubt, right? Please kill that doubt. So he's very beautifully exclaiming. So let's hear what he is going to say. Hare Krishna, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sanyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarvakarma Phala Tyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha. The Supreme Lord said, to give up the results of all activities is called renunciation, Tyaga, by the wise, and that state is also called the renounced order of life, Sanyasa, by great learned man. Hare Krishna.
As I gave the intro, already Krishna is explaining, so I just gave it ahead of the sloka, where he's saying is when you are going to give up the activities, right? So that's called renunciation. Sorry, there are two kinds of renunciation which we saw, right? So you give up the results, that's called renunciation, that's called tyaga, right? But when you give and that state, right, whenever you are, so when you're giving up the activity, that's called escapism, we saw that. So when you give the results, it's called renunciation. And that state, right? Holding, and that state of renounced order is called sannyasa. Right? So what is today? Diwali is over, no? Is it Kartika Deepam or something? Like it's like hitting so hard? Or just a Saturday night?
It is Tulsi Puja.
But I'm just wondering why crackers are striking. In fact, what is special is Bhishma Panchami, which means that from day before yesterday, today, tomorrow, day after, is the day when Bhishma gave up his life, right? He was there on the bed of arrows and he lost his life. So last 5 days, he literally ate nothing. So that is the Bhishma Panchami. So it's good to chant Bhishma prayers also. And now back to this lesson. So the state is renounced. That state, what we are, is called the sannyasa. 18.3. Please read 18.3.
Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up. But there are yet other sages who maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned.
Yeah, so this we saw in the 17th chapter as well. So giving up all kinds of fruitive activities may be true, but charity, that is yagna tap, the tapas, and all this, which is very, very important. You don't give up at all at any point in time, right? So we already saw these three things at no point in time was given up even by people like Haridas Thakur or our Madhavendra Acharya, because they never gave up. They were always sticking on to these three activities. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yajna tapa karma natyagyam karyam evatat yajno danam tapaschaiva pavanani manisinam. Acts of service, charity and penance are not to be given up, but should be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity and penance purify even the great souls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Yagna, Dhyana, and Tapa, right? These three at no point in time should be given up. So let's go ahead with 18.6. Hare Krishna.
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. All these activities should be performed without any expectation of result. These should be performed as a matter of duty. O son of Pritha, that is my final opinion.
Hare Krishna. So he says all activities, whatever we are doing, we should not expect any results, right? So we should not even think, okay, I'm doing this good activity, will I get credits? Because the moment you think, not necessarily, as I said, financially or morally, sometimes you will think, so I have a friend of mine, she'll help, right? She was very helpful, but she used to tell, I would help because I feel that only if I help, my kids, somebody else will help my kid. So there is an expectation in that also, right? So that will also not be in the mode of goodness. When you expect any kind of result, what happens? This elevation does not give you spiritual elevation. That will give you pious elevation, which means will take you to heaven. We saw that, right? In the 14th chapter, we saw various destinations. So that's what it's all about. Hare Krishna, 18.7.
नियातस्य तु सन्न्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यज्य तामसः परिकीर्तिताः. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
So you have some students, when there is exam, they want to run away, right? So that is illusion, right? So it doesn't make sense. Pass, fail doesn't matter. And people who even, some of them who even commit suicide, they want to kill themselves because they feel, oh, I don't want to manage this world, it's too difficult. So these are all giving up. So he says that, okay, so now Krishna is also telling what is goodness, right? Arjuna, so wait 1 second. Just to be clearer, if I make this smaller, you can read the one here. Sorry. So if you see on the right, anyone who gives up prescribed duties or troublesome or fear of discomfort, right? As I said, I may not be feeling well, I'll be tired, I don't feel like doing it, or maybe I will not have time to study if I'm going to get into all this. Or all this, if you're planning so much out of fear, that will go under passion. And if you just do it as duty, just like how Arjuna, he was not keen in killing his family. And the number of years they ruled after that was 36 years. Now, 36 years may seem like, wow, man, 36 years. But if you actually calculate, it's like 3.5 years. I'll tell you how. Because we live for 100 years. But whereas if you take the previous yuga, do you remember which yuga Krishna came?
Dwapara Yuga.
Yes. Dwapara Yuga. So during Dwapara Yuga, what happened is he joined. So he came. So that time the life, do you have any idea on the expectancy of life?
Is it 200 years, Mataji?
It's 1,000 years.
Okay.
So 1,000 years you can cut off, right? So 1,000 years for Dwapara, Treta was 10,000 years, and prior to that, you just keep adding 110, a lack of years. So that keeps increasing significantly. Now, if you see, so Krishna, Arjuna also acted as a part of duty. So if you don't do prescribed duties, either case, it could be because of ignorance or passion. But if in case of ignorance, it's because of illusion. Whereas it's either because of fear or difficulties, right? As I said. And if you do it just as a duty, then it's in the mode of goodness. And intelligent relancer, what he says, he is in the mode of goodness always, and he is never thinking this is good work, bad work, it's beneficial. He just does it and he has no doubt what he has to do. He does not hate, he is proper place, time, he will be always situated. So these are the pictures of Prabhupada's guru. I was telling you about Saraswati, Bhakti, Saraswati, and he is the guru, and his father is Bhakti BVT, if you see, right? Bhakti Vedanta Thakur, right? Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. BVT is what the short form they use for him, is the father of Prabhupada's guru. And Prabhupada's guru is called Gaura Kishori Das Baba. And so this is the 5 disciplinic succession, and Prabhupada is the 32nd guru. So what are we talking about? An intelligent realizer, right? Whoever is goodness, he is just not bothered about the work, whether it's good, bad, ugly. So that is why they say that whether you are a pujari in the altar or whether you are even cleaning the floor of the temple, Krishna sees it same. He doesn't care whether you're in a high position or low position. This is great. According to him, you're serving Krishna. So it's just the same. For one who is not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, mixed, accrue after death. Right? So we see that. But those who are already renounced, they have no such results because they just suffer or enjoy, nothing matters to them. It's just on the normal platform. So now we are going to enter the B. What are we going to see is, if you have doubts, no problem, just join. Attendance is there, go ahead and mark. And if you have any doubts, type in the chat, because as I'm explaining, I will include your doubt and answer, right? So what is the conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta? Actions directed by the super soul being freedom from action. So Krishna cites a lot of references and activities which are composed of 5 factors. So what are these 5 factors? And of this, which is very prominent, he says the super soul. I know it sounds vague, but we'll get into what are the 5 factors. So please read this. Yeah, Prajesh, you all can take turns. And Sai was there at lost signal. When she joins, all can take turns.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. 18.1314. O mighty armed Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishment of all actions. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So they say they are declared in the Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, and the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. So they are saying that they're declaring the Sankhya philosophy, everything like, place of action is wherever the action is taking place, right? Performer is doer. For example, let's take the field, right, where they're going to construct. The place of action is a field. And for your case, let's say that you're writing an exam, the place of action is the exam hall. Performer are these engineers. And for our case, it's going to be you people who are going to write the exam. The senses, obviously, you will see, right? You will see the paper, you will think, all your senses are involved. That's the senses. Endeavor is your effort, your preparation for exam, how much concentration you're delivering it. Ultimately, the super soul. No matter how much you study, have you experienced this? And it always happens. The moment I get the paper, the first 5 minutes, I feel I don't understand anything. And nothing I know in the paper. Have you all experienced that? The first 5 minutes? All the time. Because our endeavor is there, right? Our senses are working on it, but ultimately the super soul has to play a role. After that, whatever you remember is definitely because of your endeavor and the super soul's mercy, right? That's why you're able to recall whatever you read. But this is largely proportionate to your endeavor. So whatever endeavor you do, that is the specialty of Damodar, right? You move 1 inch and another 1 inch comes from Krishna. So 18.15, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Sharir karma prarabdhate naraha nyayam va viparitam va panchaita tasya hetavaha. Hare Krishna, please read and we all can chant also in future. Hare Krishna.
Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these 5 factors.
Whatever you do, including doing a wrong activity like copying in the exam, even that is caused by the 5 factors, right? We'll be telling how super soul is. Yes, super soul gives you limited freedom. So copying also you can do only if the freedom is given, but it's not approved. He doesn't approve. It's like your mom giving you 5 rupees or 10 rupees, right? Let's say even 50 rupees with the hope that you will go and eat food from the canteen. Now you may be interested, why should I eat from the canteen? Let me go, not have thing, but I'll eat 2 ice cream. She's okay with that. She knows that you will do a little deviation. But if you go and see, okay, with that 50 rupees, let me buy, not buy food, but let me go and, pick up a cigarette, or let me go and buy something from the street shop, she'll definitely be not favorable, right? But still, She won't know. You can't tell, okay, my mom only gave 50 rupees, so she only made me buy a cigarette or a street food. But neither of that is true. So Super Soul just gives you the freedom to do. But it's not that Super Soul is in favor of whatever you do, right? Hare Krishna. Yes, 18.16. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Tatraivam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tuya pashyati akrita buddhitvan nasha pashyati durmati.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation: Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Hare Krishna.
Now, for instance, like Prajesh studied for entrance, right? For medical. He did everything and you got the admission. Now, if you feel, okay, all glories to myself, I'm the only cause for this, right? You have come across many people who say, I'm a self-made man. Is it even possible? Right? It's not possible, right? See, no matter how much you have prepared, there should be, it's like competitive exam. I am sure applies to all schools, colleges, everywhere. So even if you have done the best and you have scored a particular mark, entirely there could be many people who would have scored above you. Yes or no? Possible, right? So if you have prepared 100%, somebody would have prepared 100% but could have delivered better than you. So there should be, so it's just, you're not the only doer. There are other things also which play a role, of which Super Soul is the main thing. So doer is soul, but endeavor is also playing a role. Your senses have to work correctly. Your place should be favorable and everything is there. Now, whether it's a wrong action or whether it's a right action, all these are applicable. So now moving on to section C, the modes control all the activities. So what are the things? The 5 factors, whatever is mentioned there, includes what are they? Include one's knowledge, which we are going to see. What is that? It's explained. This karma. How karma or modes, right? We saw 3 modes, how they control. And one's action. So typically, what is this one's action? That is also coming under the karma. So whatever you act, on what basis? And one's performance of the action. We will see, I know it's a lot of, it's all sounds very heavy, but let's see what they are trying to tell. And one's understanding of it, determination and happiness. So let's see what it is all about. I would want you all to, read. We'll be very happy if 3 of them are there, but unfortunately, 2 of us are not there. So, so if you can probably, do 3 kinds of knowledge. Now, I want you all to take a paper and a pen, as I told you, and start scoring, right? So 3 is you'll score if the number 3 you can see, right? So that's there. And you'll give yourself 2 if this suits you and 1 if this suits. So what I suggest is, if you're not the same person, but somebody else read. Like for instance, if Rajesh reads this, 2, I would want, Bhumi to read. And again, 1 Rajesh. So you all can just go on circles, right? So yeah, you can start. So 3 kinds of knowledge. So these are all based on modes. And the first point is knowledge. Yeah, please go ahead. Start.
Mataji, should I read the second one or the third one?
Anything, just do the alternate.
Okay. 18.20. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all existences, undivided in the divided, is knowledge in the mode of goodness.
So he says that whatever knowledge which you're doing, right, it is existing, is in the mode of goodness. So what are it sounds very technical, right? Anything which you're talking about spiritual knowledge in one line, right? Wherever you see, whatever knowledge which is reading, for example, whatever we are studying, will come under the mode of goodness. And what is 18.21? Yeah. Rajesh can read this. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. 18.21. That knowledge by which a different type of living entity is seen to be dwelling in different bodies is known as is knowledge in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna.
So basically now coming to this, right? So 18.20, you'll understand if I relate this more to the 5th chapter. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, right? Brahmane Gavi Astini, Sunicheva Swapakeva, Pandita Samadarshana. So which means that whether it's a cat or a dog or a human or a beggar, the person sees that everybody has the same spiritual nature. He doesn't divide. So Paramatma is one and he feels Paramatma exists in everybody's heart. So he feels everybody is equal, right? Rich, poor, it doesn't care. Such a thought if is there, that kind of knowledge comes under goodness and you can give yourself a score of 3. Now, if you see there are different bodies, for example, you know that dog is barking, Because the dog body is different, my body is different, women body is different, then you give yourself a score of 2. And let's hear when you will give a score of 1, 1 being the least. Yes, please go ahead, Bhumi.
Yes, Mataji. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, it is said to be in the in the mode of darkness.
So the knowledge by which one is attached to a particular kind of work without anything, right? That kind is totally, extremely in the mode of darkness, right? So you have knowledge and you're totally attached to only a typical thing. Your mindset is just fixed on that. Then you will get into the mode of naga. So based on this, you can just add your scores, right? So you can just put knowledge and start, giving your scores. Now based on action. So we're moving to action. So what is action? Actions that, yeah, please go ahead. Prajesh, yeah, you all can do alternate. Yeah, Prajesh.
Okay, Hare Krishna. 18.23. As for actions that action in accordance with duty, which is performed without attachment, without love or heat by one who has renounced furtive results, is called action in mode of goodness.
Okay. Classic example is subjects, right? We always hate a subject and we always love a subject. I had this experience. Did you all? School time?
Mataji.
Yeah, all of us do, right? So what happens is the subject we like, we are very fond, and it also has an influence. So I had this feeling that biology was my all-time favorite until I was in 8th standard, and I had a new teacher in 9th, and I somehow didn't. I had so much of hatred for her because I perceived she didn't like me, and I used to hate even biology, which was my all-time favorite subject, right? So we are attaching ourselves to either a subject. Many times you'll see people trying to tell, I hate this place. I just can't tolerate this place. I just hate, not the house, a particular place. It could be even a city or a state. If you dig in, it will be because they had a bad experience. The experience could be yourself, or it could be because of a person. But the total hatred to the place, right? After so many years also, they say, I don't want to even put my foot into that place, right? You've heard this many times. Sometimes it happens also. A particular classroom, when you have a bad experience of a class bully or a student, you will tell, even though I study in the school, I just don't want to go to that floor at all. Have you all experienced all this? So all this, is what we are talking about. A particular action, which whatever we are doing without any attachment, whether it's biology or physics, I just need to do the score. It's my duty to study. If you evenly think, you give yourself 3. Otherwise, let's see what 2 has to do. Hare Krishna.
But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires, and which is enacted from a sense of false ego, is called action in the mode of passion.
So if you are doing with a great effort, right, a desire, your sense of false ego, it's called action in the mode of. So you're performing everything and you have a great effort, you're putting everything, but you want to satisfy your desire. Okay, I want to do biology because I want to become a master's in science so that, I can earn a lot, I can go abroad and make a lot of money and enjoy and buy a big house. You have a specific thing, or, everybody in my family are engineering. So I have to take science group only because if I take commerce, they'll think I'm an idiot. All this kind of a perception, because we had that. So my dad's side everybody used to be doctors. They used to even marry doctors. And my mom's side, everybody are, were engineers. And it'll be like, when they meet, it'll be like a friction. Not really inimical, but, it'll be like a real solid friction because there's so much of sense gratification which is going there. Right? Hare Krishna. So 18.24. Yes.
Krishna Mataji. And that action performed in ignorance and delusion without consideration of future bondage or consequences, which inflicts injury and is impractical, is said to be action in the mode of ignorance.
So he says that anything which is done in ignorance, without any particular constraint, not even worried about future, you do inflict even injury, you're not bothered. Typically, if you go to a school or a college, you don't like the teacher. Some children even bash up the teacher or just get up and go. You don't even see what is your consequence, what happens to all this, right? Or for instance, a teacher scolds and the other student has the right, he has to keep a mouth shut. Immediately gets up and fights with the teacher. How can you scold her? She's my friend. He's my friend. You didn't tell. So all this will come under the mode of ignorance. We saw knowledge, right? We saw actions. Now we are moving to the third point, which is workers. So knowledge, Action, have your given score. Now you're moving to the worker. So you start giving yourself a score, whether you're a 3, 2, or 1. Yeah, please go ahead and read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The worker who is free from all material attachments and false ego, who is enthusiastic and resolute, and who is indifferent to success or failure, is a worker in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna.
So they're talking about a particular person who's doing the work, right? And who is not having any ego or any attachment, no favoritism, no nepotism, and all that, and who is absolutely enthusiastic, irrespective of what work, whether it's a success or a failure. You do that, that person will be in the mode of goodness. For example, you all are reading, right? Simple example. Now you all are having the mode of goodness. You may chant well, do not chant well, you may struggle, maybe somebody will make fun of you, you don't care, you just want to be there, right? So that comes under the mode of goodness. Any work for that matter, I just gave this as an example. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. 18.27. But that worker who is attached to the fruits of his labor and who passionately wants to enjoy them, who is greedy, envious, and impure and moved by happiness and distress, is a worker in the mode of passion.
Okay, so what he says, one second. Sorry. But a particular worker who's attached to the fruits of labor, right? He's very passionate and he wants to enjoy them. Okay, he's also very greedy, he's envious, he's very impure, and he is completely disturbed. Okay, I go study and I write this assignment, and the teacher says, wow, you've done a great work, you're happy. But another class assignment, the teacher doesn't appreciate, you don't feel like coming back and doing it. So these are all mode of passion. You're very greedy for whatever, it could be appreciation, money, whatever, and you're envious. Okay, the guy who's getting like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is a classic example, right? Bruce Lee was an excellent Kung Fu fighter. What should have been the right attitude? Even if you're envious, you try and overpower the person by practicing. I can't do that. So what should I do? That is coming under ignorance. I will not follow the spiritual injection. I will do cheating. I will poison him. I will insult. I will do, and I will kill him. So this is a very negative thing. But here in terms of worker, let's see what they're talking about. Here it's more to do with laziness and cheating. Yeah, go ahead.
And that worker who is always engaged in work against the injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is a worker in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
So all this will make you mode of ignorance. So what are the 3 kinds of intelligence? So we're moving to intelligence. Yeah, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 18.30. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating. That understanding is established in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna.
So son of Partha, the understanding, right, by which whatever you're doing, right, whatever to be feared, what is not to be feared, what is binding, whatever is liberating, that is mode of goodness. So very clearly what they are talking about is whatever you're thinking, right, you have a fear, you're not fear, you're binding, whatever is liberating, all this will be in the mode of goodness. So that is the thought which we are talking about. So whatever, when you're, one second. Yeah, so have you put your column 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one will become intelligence, right? So whatever you're doing, you should be without, see, when you should fear, where to fear. For example, I'm copying in my exam. Yes, you have to fear, right? Copying, I'm boldly copying is not giving you credit. So you have to know where you have to fear. Okay, likewise, that is in school. Parents, right? So you are trying to make a lot of noise, bringing your friends home. It's not wrong. But, you are trying to engage yourself and really, making let's say a very vulgar joke, or you want to watch a very bad movie, these kind of things you have to have here. It's not like, okay, I'm bold, I can do anything I want. The today generation, most of us tend to do, I don't care, I have absolute freedom. Nobody can question me because this is my life, right? That's a trend we are seeing with all of us. We also have that in our mind. So that trend is not wrong, provided we are doing the right way. But most of the time, we don't know what is right and wrong, right? So we are totally confused because of that. And let's hear what 18.31 has to
do. 18.31. And that understanding which cannot distinguish between the religious way of life and the irreligious, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, that imperfect understanding, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna.
It's a typical confusion. You don't know whether you can do this or whether you should not. right? Always we are, most of the time, student situation, we are like this. Should I do? Should I not do? If the teacher is not at all teaching well, she's so bad, and I can't even pass the exam, she's not even given, should I go ahead and take it up with the management? Should I do this? Yes or not? We are always contemplating on this. So such things are coming under the mode of passion. So let's hear what mode of ignorance is.
Hare Krishna. 18.32, that understanding which considers a religion to be religion and religion to be religion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives ways in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
So typically what happens is when you consider, right, so you think religion as religion. For example, right, you will think, okay, I have to give charity. Why can't I give charity to this person, a friend of mine who wants to drink alcohol because he's so addicted? What is wrong in that? Thinking goes in that line, right? So what is wrong if I, bunk an exam and go for a movie? I don't see anything wrong in that because I didn't prepare well, maybe next time. So all these things deep inside, we know it's wrong, but you completely get confused, right? So 3 kinds of determination. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please go ahead.
18.33, O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and thus controls the mind, life, and the acts of the senses, is in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna.
You're so determined. Classic example of kids here. See, from the day one, you are so determined that you have not stopped attending a single class, right? So that shows your determination. And such a determination which controls mind, and that is called mode of goodness. No matter whatever comes, whether you have test or exam. And let's hear what is this second one. Yeah, please go ahead and read.
Hare Krishna. 18.34, and that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive result in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it says by which one holds fast for fruitive religion, like economic development and self gratification. All this, whichever you do, right? Economic development or for satisfying yourself, and determination, you're still determined to do, but you have more of yourself in your mind. I will shop for 18 hours. Where will that come? All this is this, right? So you practice so much of time, you're determined to do something. So that comes under this. And let's hear 18.35.
18.35, and that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination is in the mode of darkness. Hare Krishna.
Permanently dreaming, most convenient, lamenting, all this come under the mode of darkness. So what about happiness, right? So let's hear now, right? This is the last one, I think, right? 5 we are done, we have 6 months. So what is happiness? So let's hear 18.37.
Hare Krishna. 18.37, that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end which is nectar, which is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness.
In the beginning, it is like poison. You have to get up at 4 o'clock, do Mangalarti and chant. Oh my God. How long? 1 week? Exam means I'll do for 1 week and after that I'll sleep till 12. No, for rest of your life. Oh my God, it's like poison, right? But then if you continue to do that, it's like nectar. Like even chanting for me. So I was telling that for me it was so difficult to chant the first time. Half mala I could not do, right? So it was so difficult. And but whereas if I continue, now it's become so easy. So Hare Krishna, someone has joined ISKCON Mangaluru. Would you like to share something? Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'm going ahead. So that's a thing. Like whatever you have, such an experience is like poison initially, but later, when you start feeling, you start enjoying. Now you want to do, that is like nectar. The happiness which is derived, yeah, please go. I'll read this. From the contract of senses with their objects and which appears like nectar and later poison. Example, I watch an ad. I see a lipstick ad. Amazing. I want that lipstick, right? The very look. Then I go use the lipstick, my lip gets allergy. So there's this story of French oil, right? So I had this friend of mine who told me that if you use French oil, you'll become fair. So she went on using it and it was looking really good initially. Okay, she was so happy. And later, she started getting so much of skin allergy. Her skin used to be good and it became better and then it became worse. Right? So all this, in the beginning, it's nice. So the example which is given here is not about skin, it's about opposite gender. So when you first start interacting with opposite gender, it's so interesting. But later it becomes very difficult. So my friend, she was saying that there was a neighbor, right, who was very friendly and all good. And what she was saying is it was very nice, when he was trying to do and all that, but then they were planning a lot. They were thinking, okay, it's so nice to be good neighbors. So should we, go meet for a cup of coffee, which is nice. But then what she says is it becomes so addictive. It's very nice at the beginning, though we are friends, but then it becomes so disturbing, right? You have a fight, then it's irritating. You don't have a fight, then you get cautious. Then after a few times, you get more cautious because we are in the same apartment. Even though we are friends, we try and meet every week or we go for a walk every week. What will others do? So they said that they shifted. Instead of walking, they shifted to vehicle. So they said that, okay, we avoid it. So the purpose is defeated, right? So your main purpose is, okay, I want to go, and if I want to go, I'll meet a friend who can give me company. Now the situation has changed where instead of going in for a company of what you want, you have started going in just to satisfy something else which is not your prime motive. Right? So these are the things which initially is like nectar and later it becomes hell, right? Because your actual motive is, okay, you want a company for walking, it's not working. Now you want somebody who is going to be nice for you, but then you feel that the person who's nice is going to become a bad name for you, right? Your image is getting spoiled. Your name is getting tarnished. Now you're like looking up at 9 o'clock instead of looking into Krishna book. You're looking into your mobile, not to read a mantra or a shloka, but to see if this person has messaged. So can you relate? Can you understand what I'm trying to tell? Or is it getting very heavy, this topic?
No, Mataji.
Understand.
Follow, right? So this kind of a things, though, is very nice at the beginning and then becomes very painful. Netravali, if you want to start reading, you can start reading. You can also join. It will be very nice if you all are reading this side. But of course, we are done with this chapter, but just telling. So 18.39, Hare Krishna, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. 18.39, and that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be the nature of ignorance.
Hare Krishna. So what they are telling is the happiness which is blind, right? Initially, it's like poison. End also is like poison. Example, drug or a drink. I've heard people who take drug at the beginning, they go through a lot of physical trauma. They go through a lot of things. Maybe Prajesh can enlighten, not because he's a drug addict, but because he's studying medicine. They say it's very difficult. Is it so, Prajesh, when they first sniff or when they first inject, it's very painful, it's very uncomfortable?
Yes, Mataji.
Right? And the way they go to a reform. Yes, dear? Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna, someone. Okay. So even when they want to get rid of it, that is also very painful. They say that it goes into blood and it creates so much of stress that they find it very difficult. So even in a place to get rid of it, they give you small portions to get rid. So these are the things which they are talking about. Now, how do they really get rid? So this is something which is a surprise for me. We have these 4 regulatory principles like no alcohol. No alcohol includes smoking, drinking, all of that. No intoxication. Now, these 2 things, you will think, Mataji, why are we talking? We are not too much into it. Yes, forget about us. But, if you think of Prabhupada when he went to US, he was dealing with hippies, right? And if you see the hippies, can you imagine how horrible this crowd is? Because for them, drinking, eating non-veg, smoking, having a fag was their routine. It was the only thing they were doing. You understand? It's like how you go to school, holiday is nice, and one day is nice, but after 10 days, you want to connect to your friends. You just don't want to sit in a room all by yourself. So these people, they were just used to that. They were drinking, they were partying, they didn't know anything. But after coming to Krishna conscious, they never drank, they never smoked, they never got into any relationship with the opposite gender. So and they were so strict, even in terms of food, beyond even we can think. So how could they get into all this? Is still, to be very honest, a myth for me. But what Krishna says is when you get a higher taste. So they've all experienced a Krishna taste, which hopefully we'll also experience. So that, so you imagine what kind of a thing, right? If you deep link, can we do something? I go back and think, I keep thinking, okay, I'm not, orange shirt may not be my favorite. But even then, if I have to give, like I always tell, brown is not my favorite color. I don't like brown. But even then, if I'm asked not to dress in brown color, then I will find some nice brown color and think, oh my God, I can't wear this dress. Yes or no? Won't you experience? So of course, Krishna consciousness is not that you have to give up anything, but I'm just saying that, the thought flow is. Netra, kids after 15 minutes, yeah, we are having class. It will take us quite some time. It will take me at least 8:15. So I'll try and finish by 8. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So now we are moving on to 18.40. Yeah, please go ahead and chant Hare Krishna. Wait. And what are we supposed to do? You have done your scoring. Do your total, but don't tell your score. Just hold it. You have put your scores, whether you're 3 or 2 or 1, just do your total and let's see what's going to come. Yeah, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, sorry to interrupt. What if it's like a mixture of two?
Sorry, Bhumi, I didn't hear your last word.
What if it's a mixture of 2 modes?
Mixture of 2 and 1. You mean to say that?
No, like any 2 of the modes.
Any 2 of the?
The same category, Mataji. If 2 of the modes are,
I understand. So basically, see, it will be very unlikely to have that. So try and see, take a score, keep one column where you give a higher score and give lower column, add and see where you fall. You'll get an idea. I understand what you're telling. One place you're getting a 2 and one place you're getting a 1. Don't give a 1.5. Just give a 2 and give a 1 and try and see what adds up for you. And you will see where it comes to. Normally, what we do, if you have a 2 clash, we take the lower score. I'm just giving you a number. We take a lower score because if it's 2 and still you're on 1, it means there is somewhere in between, right? It means that you're not there at 2 and therefore you don't qualify for a 2. So we don't give a 1.5, we give a lower score. But for your benefit, add both scores and you'll get a feel, right? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, what should be?
Hey, Prajesh, your voice is in and out.
Can you hear me now, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
What should be the score? Like, if it is like, what is a good score?
Keep 2 columns. Create the lower score also and the higher score also. So we will discuss what are the 2 totals you got.
Okay.
So if you're getting a 3 and a 2, give 3 also and give 2 also. So you'll add the first column this way and you'll add the second column. So wherever it's the same thing, you put the same score. Wherever it's a thing. So you know your range. You know where you're ranging. So you're in that range. My point?
Yeah, Mataji, my question was like, which range is like considered to be good? Like, Hare Krishna.
Mataji will let you know, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay.
Just keep adding. So you'll find 2 columns, results will come. Wait.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Natad asti pritivyam da deveshu ma punah sattvam prakriti jate muktam yadevi satvi nirgunah. Hare Krishna. So there is no being existing neither here or among the demigods in the higher planetary system which is free from the 3 modes. Nobody. Everybody will go through the 3 modes of material nature. The only person who is above the 3 modes is Krishna. Even the devatas, right, including Brahma, will have an influence of the 3 modes. So what's the time now?
8:02, Mataji.
8:02? Okay. We'll try and then we'll take this for tomorrow. Because this we won't be able to finish so soon. We have to move to the karma, so it's quite a bit. Because we saw the modes, we'll come to the scores later, but we are talking, keep your scores for tomorrow. And for those who joined late, please go and play the video again. That's why I'm not giving the results out today. Please make your scores. Now, whatever we're going to see kind of ashrams, we will do tomorrow. So we are sort of halfway through. This is a very long chapter. It's the longest chapter, which has got 8.78. So we are 8:02, right? So we'll stop here and do you all have any doubts? Let me do the prayer. Vancha kalpada rupyasya rupa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnava Jai, Srila Prabhupada Jai. Hare Krishna. Come on, all.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
So,
Mataji.
yeah, thank you so much. Do you all have any doubts?
No, Mataji.
No?
No,
Can
Mataji.
done 1 hour?
Then tomorrow same time, right, Mataji?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll meet the same time, 7 o'clock. I think some of you all didn't come thinking it's 7:30. Please, let's come at 7 o'clock. Because the session, if it extends, we'll have time. If I start at 7:30, if it extends, it'll get too late for you. So tomorrow we'll meet again at 7 o'clock and we'll try and finish by 8. Right? So as you shall get a paper pen. Whoever has not come, I have posted the YouTube link in this group also. We will repost it here as well. You copy paste that YouTube link and have it just a today's class, and the playlist is already updated. Go through the session, write your score, what scores we are getting. And any other doubts? Otherwise, we can end the session.
No doubt, Mataji.
Okay, so the other month is coming to an end early next week. I request each one of you all to at least one lamp, one day. At least today, go back and do a ghee aarti to your deities. Is that fine?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Hare Krishna.